Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's roughly 5 o'clock or a little bit after 5. Let's start with roll call. This is Don Griffin.
David Walter.
Eric Sandweiss.
Nicholas Kappas.
Okay. Others present, staff present?
Oh, I'm sorry, Doris Sims, Housing and Redevelopment Director.
Okay.
Christina Finley, Hand Department.
Okay.
Larry Allen, Legal.
Okay. Let's see. Any others present? You have any others present on here that didn't call their names? Nicholas, Jeff Ryan. Who else?
So we have Dave Askins, we have Kat, we have Mary Morgan, Emily Ernstberger, and then we have 2 phone numbers with no names.
Okay. Hey,
The 9618 is Cindy, just so you know. 9618 ending is Cindy.
okay. I'm getting some background noise. I don't hear it now. It's gone. Thank you. I don't know what happened. All right, I'm going to go on. Was that everyone that was present? Did we get everybody? I think we did. All right, let's go. We've done the roll call. Let's go reading of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for May the 4th, 2020?
I'll move we approve minutes from May. Let's see, 24th.
Or May 4th.
May 4th, yeah.
Sorry. And that was David Walters.
Eric Sandweiss, seconds.
Okay, all those in favor, and I guess we'll need a roll call. I'm Don Griffin, yes.
Dave Walter, yes.
Sandweiss, aye.
Cindy Canarney, yes.
And okay, so both Cindy Carnot and Nicholas, did you say yes too?
Yeah, yes, Nicholas Kappas, yes.
Okay.
Cindy was yes.
Okay, none opposed, the motion carries. Let's have examination of claims. Is there a motion to approve the claims registers for May the 15th, 2020?
Cindy Canarney moves approval of the claims register.
Okay, all in favor? Or
David
no, I need
Walter
a second.
will second.
Okay, all in favor? Don Griffin says yes.
David Walter says yes.
Cindy Canarney says yes.
Nicholas Kappas says yes.
Sandweiss, yes.
Okay, none opposed, the motion carries. Let's go with the examination of payroll registers. Is there a motion to approve the payroll registers for April the 9th, 2020, April the 24th, 2020, and May the 8th, 2020?
This is Eric Sandweiss. I move for approval.
This is David Walter. I'll second that motion.
I'm Don Griffin. I say yes.
David Walter
Cindy
says
Canarney,
yes.
yes.
Okay.
I'll repeat, David Walter says yes.
Okay.
Nicholas Kappas, yes.
And Sandweiss, yes.
Okay, none opposed, the motion carries. Let's have reports of officers and committees. Is there a director's report today?
Unmute Doris.
Do you hear me now?
I do now, yes. Sorry.
Hi, Jeff. Sorry about that. So as I mentioned to you in the past, the Hand Department through the Community Development Block Grant Program received an additional allocation under the CARES Act of Community Development Block Grant or CDBG funding in the amount of $525,656. And that funding is to be used for activities undertaking for the prevention or responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. We now have application process that is open for any agencies who would like to apply for funding. Applications opened up on May the 11th. We will have 2 technical assistance meetings, one tomorrow, Tuesday, May 19th at 2 o'clock, and another one Thursday, May 21st at 5:30. Those both will be done by Zoom, and information on how to log into that will be found on the HAND's website at bloomington.in.gov/hand. And so we look to complete that process and bring the recommendations. We do have a committee in place who will be reviewing applications, and we hope to bring those proposed projects to the Redevelopment Commission sometime next month for funding recommendations. That's all I have for now.
Okay. Cool. Is there a legal report?
I don't have a report at this time, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for legal? Okay. Is there a treasurer's report?
Yeah, just want to let you know that work is progressing well on 2 garages, and we will be opening bids this week for phase 1 of the 4th Street garage. And then once we get those, if those are all acceptable, we'll have a GMP for Wilhelm. Just a reminder, they put it out for bid. They actually contract with the subcontractors, and then we contract with them via the GMP. So we hope to have that shortly after the bid openings, and then the next phase is in process, and we'll put bids out for that, and that will be the remainder actual construction part of the garage. And then that would finalize between the 2 garages all of our GMPs and allow us to continue to move on. That's it.
Okay. Any questions for Jeff? None. Okay, let's go with, sorry guys. I need readers. Hold on here. A CTP update report. Is there a CTP update report? None? Can you hear me?
Yes, I don't think Alex is on the call. Do you have anything, Jeff?
Nothing beyond the garages. That's really where the focus is
Okay.
right now, is getting those moving and continue to get them moved.
Okay. All right. Thanks for your reports, folks. Appreciate it. Let's go into new business. The next item of business is Resolution 20-27, approval of the purchase agreement for 1730 South Walnut Street. Who's going to speak to us about this?
So I will start off, and then I will invite Jeff Ryan, who is with the developer company that was chosen. So as you know, the Redevelopment Commission owns the property at 1730 South Walnut Street, the site of the former Night Moves site. Back in, I want to say about September of last year, we put out an RFI for proposals for the development of that site. Those RFIs were due the end of middle of December. We had 10 developers who responded to our RFI. We took and had discussions with those 10 developers. We had an internal committee that consisted of myself, the controller, city legal with Larry Allen, planning and transportation director, and ESD director. And we met with the 10 development companies, and then reduced that down to 4 who we invited in for a second round of consideration of applications, and decided to go with Real America out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And we have Jeff Ryan, who is with Real America. But the project, I'll let him talk a little bit more about the project. But one of the reasons why we chose Real America is with their low-income housing tax credit experience. We were looking for a developer who has had experience in low-income housing tax credit, as well as building affordable housing, which we look to build on that site. Real America is a woman-owned business, which we appreciate. Their development will be partnering with Stonebelt, where 20% of the units will be going to Stonebelt residents, and they will also have a program manager on site to assist the Stonebelt residents. They will be working with us on the design, although they're working on preliminary design, but also getting more input on the design, and their willingness to work with the local architects along with their own architect to develop the site. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jeff. And is there anything else you would like to say? As well as Larry.
Hi, you covered that pretty well. We're excited to be part of Bloomington with this, and hope we're successful on it. We're kicking it off already. We're coming up with some preliminary building designs on it, seeing how we can maximize the site and make a beautiful building here for the entrance to the Switchyard Park and to the southern part of Bloomington. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. I don't want to take up your time though, just rambling on.
No, you're fine. Does anyone have any questions in regards to this?
So Larry, do you have anything you would want to add?
I think the only thing I would add, Doris, is just that, so the RFI, as she mentioned, was issued in December to kind of give us a sample of what the realm of possibilities were for the property. There was a formal notice of offering in accordance with the RDC statutes. And so this purchase agreement is being conducted more than 30 days after the opening of those official bids on the property. That allows us to negotiate for a myriad of other things other than the appraisal price. That's why, as a whole project, this was deemed to be the most comprehensive project for the affordability requirements, but also the redevelopment commission's plan near the park. And that all of this is in compliance with the statutory requirements for the RDC.
I have a question, if I may, for city staff, Larry, maybe Jeff. Just reflects my ignorance, but on the other hand, maybe a typical public perspective in wondering if you could tell us more about the conveyance itself. We had the property appraised for its fair value, but if I understand right, we're being asked to vote on conveying the property for $1. So was this always the plan for the city to do it? Is this how will we realize the value by Jeff and his colleagues then developing a project that we consider to be in the public interest?
Yeah, I mean, we realize going into these and any land deals that we have that there's a good possibility that we will not necessarily get back the fair market value of the properties themselves. So we looked at it in totality of what were we trying to accomplish, and given that, and I'm sorry, I'm sitting in the dark. I need to turn the light on. Given that this was the best overall proposal as we requested. So while it may not have been the biggest fiscal proposal overall, it met all of the other attributes in the RFI that we were looking for.
This is
This
Cindy.
is David Walter. I would like to just comment on this, that I read through the proposal, and also I noted that we're selling this for $1, but in exchange we get the 99 years of affordability, and that the partnering with Stonebelt is very interesting. I'm glad to see that. I'm familiar with some of the projects they've done up at South Bend. They renovated an existing building, which has really sparked a lot of development in the South Bend downtown area. They've got some new construction on their resume, which are interesting buildings. They're not just something thrown up with vinyl siding. I think that you've chosen a really good partner here.
Hey, Larry, it's Cindy, or Jeff, or whomever can answer this. But so the purchase price is $1, and the group has a year to secure financing. And I think it said in there that the closing shall be within 150 days of approval or something along those lines. But what happens if the financing falls through and the property's been conveyed? Can you speak to that?
So the way this is set up is that because the financing has to be secured first, it won't have been conveyed. We won't have closed on the property basically until the financing is secured. We set it up. There were kind of two avenues that we can go through. As you all are aware from some of our other agreements, the RDC is able to, in its purchase agreements, have either a repurchase clause, either for a right of first refusal, or a reversionary clause in its purchase agreements, or we could set it up like this, which kind of gives us some security. One of the reasons, though, I would note, we feel relatively certain about this and confident because Real America has extensive experience, as we've already talked about, and that was one of the primary factors. They have extensive experience in financing exactly these types of affordable housing deals, and also navigating the significant hurdles that are placed in those state financing credits that you have to get for these types of affordable housing deals. And so that's one of the primary factors that rank this very highly among the various proposals and offers that were submitted. But the way this deal is structured, that we could have several options if we got to the end of the road. If financing fell through for some reason, maybe the state changed its program or changed the metrics, or it was a particularly competitive year and somehow we didn't meet that. We would have the option of like any contract, we could renegotiate the contract. We could give it a longer timeline to try to make this deal work again, to maybe tweak some of the requirements to get the tax credits, or we can put it back out and offer to sell the property once again, because at that point, the parties could disintegrate the purchase agreement without having closed. Then we would be free to enter into another purchase agreement. But we do feel very confident that Real America, they're definitely professionals at this. They have an extensive track record, and we feel very good about our likelihood of success with them.
So it sounds like there's definite options if financing would fall through for some reason, that the property would not have been conveyed prior to financing being secured. Correct?
That's exactly right. Yes.
And if I may, the reason that we had it set up to be, because the original development agreement that was proposed by the city was 30 days after tax credit allocation, I believe, and we switched it to 150 because once we get the allocation, then we need to sell the credits and do all of the final engineering, design, get the loan closed. So what our goal would be is we would close on the land the same day that we close on our agreements for the loan and the equity from the tax credit. So it's all done at one time. There's nothing that is before another one. So it's all at once.
Could I also ask about, there was a timeline that was conveyed in the packet of information that was attached for our review. Is that timeline still accurate?
It is not, and that is because of coronavirus. Tax credit applications are typically due the end of July, but the state has changed it to where they're going to be due 120 days after the last county goes to stage 2. I believe that is today, with Lake County going to stage 2. So we're expecting applications to be due September 15th instead of July 27th. Other than that, basically it just shifted everything back 6 weeks, and there was nothing that we could control on that.
Well, and keeping in mind, Cindy, that packet of information which you got, which was their proposal, but that was put together before the whole coronavirus hit. And so it was based upon when we received the information back in December.
What?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
How many bedrooms are you thinking right now? How many bedrooms and what do you? I guess let's start with the bedrooms and units.
Our current is we are looking at 54 affordable units with a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. And we are also we're refining it to add in some market rate units to maximize the site for the parking that we can get on that. We're still working through that to figure out exactly what it is. It's just there's a cap on tax credits. So the most we can afford with the tax credits for the affordable is the 54. So we're hoping to get somewhere at least up into the low 60s on the total units.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Any other questions from any other redevelopment commissioners or anyone else?
If I may, this is Eric again. A couple of questions. One is for city staff. What, if any, consequences are there if the project is not completed and started leasing by the time the terms of the initial proposal, or however they've been amended fairly because of the current emergency? And question 2 is there is a public right-of-way into the park here, is there not? And is that going to be available as a public entry even before and during the construction itself?
So I guess I will start, Larry or Jeff, if you want to. So to answer your second question first, so there is a public entrance that will be happening. It's under construction now. That's north of this entrance. So I think it will still open. It's currently under construction. I don't anticipate that it would affect this lot for the development of this lot. And then your first question, I think that it would open on time because it's not only us with the conveyance of the property, but with tax credits. The developers also put tax credit, syndicators also put in place requirements that the property, milestones for the property to open up on time and lease up at a particular period of time that has to be met by the developer in order for them to receive the credits. Is that not correct, Jeff? Ryan?
Yes, there are very strict deadlines. So we will be putting the application in. Again, we expect it to be mid-September. I don't know when allocation is going to be yet, hopefully before the end of the year. And if we are successful, we will be full steam ahead to be able to close on it within that 150 days with our financing. And as Doris said, there are very strict requirements, both from a statutory standpoint for the tax credit program, but also that we will have from our investor that if we don't place it in service and start delivering credits with having it leased up appropriately, that we'll be on the hook for that. We definitely will make sure that we hit those.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question, Don, if you don't mind. This is for staff. Since this is my second meeting, I'm still kind of getting my bearings on this side of it. Having served for 4 years on Plan Commission, I see the other side after this has gone through and before the building goes through. So I guess my question is, we're focusing on affordability in our community, and we're obviously providing 10-year property tax abatement, building for $1 and the TIF grant. So when we say affordable housing, I guess this is actually a question for, would it be the petitioner in this case, petitioner? What is the affordable range? What are you looking at?
We are looking at a mix of 5 different levels of affordability for the apartments, from 30% of area median income to 80% of area median income. So the ones that are at the lowest income will be primarily reserved for clients of Stone Belt. And then the others that are in the 50, 60, 70, 80% of area median income, which is basically we consider workforce housing, will then be open to the general public.
Okay. And then you have those 8 or so are the market rate.
Yes, they're looking at a few market rate also.
Right.
And to give you an idea, Nicholas, of what that would entail, currently the income limit for someone who is at 30% of AMI for one individual, that's like 15,550. Where the 80% of AMI is at 41,350.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for that, Director Smith.
I would also note, so the way that these get done is that there's a recording that happens after closing that the new owner would have to record along with the title to certify that they're going to keep this 99-year affordability. They have to check in with the hand department to see what the latest AMI is, what's going to be affordable. So there are some checks and balances throughout that affordability requirement that are required. In terms of just general procedure of the RDC, they're not the petitioner in this case because this is a contract that's being jointly entered by the RDC and this entity.
Okay, thank you for that. I should ask that question before saying petitioner.
Please answer.
I appreciate that.
I think it's important to remember that even though tax credits projects usually go anywhere from 15 to 30 years of affordability, this developer has agreed to keep this project affordable for 99 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Right.
And we have done that before where we've had your typical 30-year affordability period that has an extended use agreement on it with the state. And then for another one that we did that it's actually in perpetuity is part of the zoning for the property. So on that one, which I would assume something similar on this, there's hooks in it both ways. One's from the local government on the zoning or some other document that your attorney wants to do for the 99 years, but then also the state, which is a stricter one for the first 30 years of it.
Okay. This is a question for staff. Is the 10-year property tax abatement, is that pretty standard, or is that specifically because this project is so high value in terms of affordable housing near Switchyard Park and the lot?
10 years. 10 years is the standard.
10 years standard. All right, thank you. All right, that's it. Thanks, Don.
No problem, man. Thank you for the questions.
I would just briefly note too that this body is not granting the 10-year tax abatement. So that still has to go through the regular governmental processes. So that's not guaranteed. That's kind of a separate procedure that'll have to go through council and the Economic Development Commission as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand that part. I'm just trying to grasp the 10-year versus, because I'm Plan Commission, I dealt with some that were 5-year after the fact, after going through some things. So I'm just trying to grasp that both sides here. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I also want to add that the Redevelopment Commission will be involved, just like you were involved with another low-income housing tax credit project that was built on redevelopment land, which is Beeline Heights. We will also be bringing back to you updates on this project as it progresses, including letting you have a look at the design that is developed.
Okay. All right.
Can I just ask one last thing? I think it would be interesting to maybe receive an updated schedule, if you will, or projected timelines as was laid out in the original packet. Certainly based on the changes and emergencies that we're all living through right now. But I think it would be interesting to receive that updated schedule.
Okay, I will work on one with Jeff and we will include it in your packet, your next redevelopment commission packet.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from redevelopment commissioners? If not, can we have a motion?
This is David Walter. I'll move adoption of resolution 20-27.
Eric Sandweiss, I second the motion.
Don Griffin in favor.
Eric
And was that-
Sandwise,
Second.
Cindy Canarney,
Yes, I'm in favor.
David Walter,
Yes.
Nicholas Kappas,
Yes, in favor.
Okay, motion is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Thanks, Jeff.
Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
The next item of business is resolution 20-28, approval of the lease addendum for College Square parking lot. Yeah, let's talk about this. Who's going to talk to us about this?
I can give you a brief overview. So when the RDC purchased the College Square building, it purchased it pursuant to the leases that were in existence. Bunger and Robertson, who was the previous owner of College Square, had a lease agreement for 2 parcels of the parking lot. It takes up about a little less than half, I believe, of the parking lot. These are owned by private individuals, so we've been leasing that land. The former lease and the addenda to those were on month-to-month status. They had expired. So, and with the help of Philippa Guthrie, the corporation counsel for the city, we renegotiated a new addenda to the lease, and that's what this lease is for that parking lot. The interesting thing about this addenda is that it does conclude a provision to purchase those lots at the end of this next year for the addenda. I'm sorry, it's a singular. But this will ensure that we can continue to serve all the tenants of College Square currently, and so the parking lot will stay as it is.
Hey, Larry, but is there an agreed upon price?
No, it would still, for any purchase of property, it would still have to go through the RDC procedures for these 2 parcels. So we have some appraisals, but we would probably obtain new appraisals at the end of the next year, and then take the average of those 2 appraisals. That would set the maximum price that we can offer.
But has the owners given us a price that they're comfortable with?
Not to my knowledge, but I believe that we have discussed where the appraisals came in, and they seem to be comfortable with the fact that they are going to convey it to us. I can't really speak any further than that. I mean, as that develops, as we get closer to that date, certainly that's something that we would keep you all apprised of. Again, because it involved the negotiation for real estate purchase, we'll probably do that sort of thing in an executive session.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
The specific details.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Any questions, folks?
Hey, Larry, it's Cindy. So is the year and the possibility of purchasing the property after the year, is that kind of what drove the term? I know previously there was 10-year terms on those leases, et cetera.
Yeah, that is what drove the term for us. I mean, there's a possibility of extension, obviously, if for some reason we can't negotiate or circumstances change at the end of this. But that's precisely what drove the term. It's also allowing the owners to get comfortable with the idea. This has been in their family; they've had this arrangement for a long time, so we're sensitive to that, and we want to make sure that we do this in the best possible way for both parties.
I'll ask a question in the direction, Larry, if I may. Just to put it in bald terms, why wait? Why spend another, add another $42K to the ultimate cost to the city by not negotiating for sale sooner?
it's my understanding that the parties aren't ready to sell at this point. So they do want this extra year. There are one of the wrinkles to this particular agreement is that, as I mentioned, this had been in their family for years, and so now this is held by two siblings that have to communicate with each other and come to agreement with each other as well as with the city. And so that kind of adds an interesting wrinkle to any potential sale.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Can we have a motion?
This is David Walter. I'd like to make a motion to accept Resolution 20-28.
Cindy Canarney, seconds.
Don Griffin, I approve.
Eric Sandweiss, aye.
Nicholas Kappas,
I approve.
David Walter.
Yes, I approve.
Okay, I think that was everyone.
Okay. Motion is approved. Yeah, motion is approved. Did I say that right? Sorry. I'm so sorry. This is so weird, isn't it? Yeah, they're all in favor and the motion was approved, okay? Let me get back on here. 3, 4, 6. Six, 8. 6, 4, 2. Sorry, I couldn't remember my code to get back into my phone here. Okay. Actually, I think that's it. Do we have any other general discussion or business that we want to talk about? Are we good to adjourn?
I'll move for adjournment. This is David Walter.
Okay. That works.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Good
Have a
night.
good one. Bye.